Dallas for opening remarks on House File 415.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. House File 415 is a bill requiring public school districts and certain accredited non-public schools to offer the Pledge of Allegiance and display the United States flag during the reciting of the pledge. This bill was written with the First Amendment in mind, giving non-public schools the right to opt out of this requirement if it goes against their religious doctrine. And for public school students, the bill reads, "Students shall not be compelled against the student's objection or those of the student's parents or guardian to recite the pledge." The state of Iowa is one of just few states that does not have language in its code regarding the Pledge of Allegiance in schools. By passing this bill tonight, we'll be one step closer to joining about every state in the union by putting the Pledge of Allegiance in the schools. Mr. Speaker, there is an amendment.
There are amendments. The clerk will call up the amendment.
H1037 by Nordman of Dallas.
The chair recognizes the gentleman from Dallas, Representative Nordman, for opening remarks on H1037.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is just a clarifying amendment. It simply changes the word offer to administer in the bill. I'd urge the body to support this amendment.
Is there discussion? The chair recognizes the lady from Johnson, Representative Bohannon.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm going to vote no on this amendment. I've discussed this with Representative Nordman. He knows. I think that the original language to offer the pledge is more consistent with the spirit of this bill, which is to make it optional. People can choose to participate or not to participate, and that's a really important aspect of the bill. And so I think that the word offer makes that very clear from the beginning of the bill without even getting down to saying that people are allowed to sit it out if they want to. So I'm going to vote no on this amendment. Thank you.
Seeing no further discussion, the gentleman from Dallas moves H1037. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. No. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it. The amendment has passed. We are now back on House File 415 as amended. Is there discussion? The chair recognizes the lady from Cerro Gordo, Representative Steckman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I will be a no on this bill, and I wanted to add some context to my vote so folks understand. With the coronavirus, I've mentioned this before, there's so much we could be doing for Iowans right now. 29% of our kids are in poverty. 41%, at least 41%, are food insecure. We have small businesses that are grappling to stay afloat. I think those are all things we should be working on, but instead, we seem to be set on mandating things for schools to do. That seems to be our business. We seem to be micromanaging. We don't need another mandate for schools. I'd like to quote someone that I have a lot of respect for, an education person that he's reasonable, and I have a lot of respect for his words. He said, "I don't think patriotism can be legislated, mandated, or judged by a person's ability to memorize words to recite." So again, I don't believe you can legislate patriotism, and I will be a no on this bill. Thank you.
The chair recognizes the lady from Johnson, Representative Bohannon.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm going to be a yes on this bill. I've always loved the Pledge of Allegiance. No matter how many thousands of times I've recited it, it always makes me feel reverent and proud to be an American. Nevertheless, I will admit that, a little bit like Representative Steckman, I initially had some concerns about this bill. First of all, we don't have people clamoring for it. No one spoke for it at the subcommittee. There were a total of 2 public comments on the website in favor. Meanwhile, people all over Iowa are begging for COVID relief. Thousands more are pleading for greater support of public education. So why not focus on the things that matter most to Iowans every day? Not to mention, many school districts already do offer the pledge voluntarily right here in Iowa. So why impose yet another mandate from on high? I was also concerned that kids might feel compelled to participate because of bullying or peer pressure, or because they believe that an authority figure wants them to. This is especially a problem for younger children and for children who move here from other places who don't know about the pledge. I am hopeful that our teachers will be able to protect kids from bullying, make it clear that they do not have to participate if they don't want to. And that's a good time to point out that we do keep asking an awful lot of our teachers in schools and giving them relatively little. Representative Nordman and Representative Mitchell, I enjoyed talking during subcommittee. I really appreciated them talking about wanting to see more unity in the country at a time of intense political division. I was very glad to hear them say that. I, too, would like to see our country more unified. But just reciting words in unison is not going to bring real national unity. It's going to take a lot more than that. And as I'm sure they and all of you would agree, the job of schools is to educate, not indoctrinate. So I do not support this bill because I want more children to mechanically recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I support it because it's an opportunity for kids to think critically about what those words mean and whether we are living up to them. For example, the pledge is not just to the flag, but to the republic for which it stands. Our kids might ask whether our republic can last when many of our leaders refuse to denounce those who subvert our democracy. They might ask, how can we be one nation indivisible if those in power pass election laws to suppress the votes of their fellow Americans? They might ask whether we have liberty and justice for all if transgender people are denied their liberties and Black Iowans are more than 10 times more likely to be incarcerated than whites. I support this bill because this moment of political division is a teaching moment. I believe that education and listening to and learning from each other are our only hope for moving forward as a country. I hope that after our young people have asked these tough questions, they will work together to preserve our republic for their children and grandchildren. And I hope that if we have failed, they will succeed in creating one nation with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
The chair recognizes the lady from Clinton, Representative Wolf.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So this is my 11th year in the legislature, and every 2 years, like all of you, I go and I knock on doors and I ask people what their concerns are and what kind of bills they'd like to see me focus on or run or what needs changing in our state. And then throughout the years, we have forums and people come and they express their concerns about various things that are actually harming them on a day-to-day basis, or they suggest things that they believe will actually make their lives better on a day-to-day basis. And I will say that never once in that whole almost 11 years now has any person ever so much as mentioned the Pledge of Allegiance to me. Clearly, it is not something that my district, my constituents, have any concerns about. I spoke to my local school superintendents who informed me that they already say the pledge in our elementary schools, or elementary classes, but have made a choice not to do it at the high school level for various reasons, including the time issue. Yes, saying it is very short, but certainly any discussion of what it means, any teaching moment would take considerably longer, and we already require that our schools do way too much in the limited time they have to do it. So just to clarify, a no vote on this bill, and my no vote on this bill, is not a no vote on the Pledge of Allegiance. I say the Pledge of Allegiance every morning in this chamber, and if my school boards, my duly elected local school boards, voted to extend the scope of their current pledge to high school students, then that would be fine, because that would be a decision made at the local level based on what works for our local teachers, students, schools. My no vote on this bill is just about yet another bill that seeks to micromanage a local government, in this case our school districts, not in order to fix a problem, because other than the fact that we're one of a few states that don't have this language in our code. I mean, I haven't heard that there are any school districts who are refusing to say the pledge or that there's any problem at all. So So that's what the no vote is. We've just done a lot of bills that usurp local control from our, county supervisors, from our city councils, and from our school districts. And so that's why I'll be a no vote on this bill. I do hope that, since I'm sure it's going to pass, I hope that schools are able to find the time to build into their curriculum a discussion about what it means and the origin of the pledge and some of the concerns that some people have versus why it's a good thing. But that's a lot of time and energy and resources that's going to have to be devoted to those discussions. Those are serious discussions. And so I hope we also provide our schools in some bill with a little additional money, time, whatever, so they can have those discussions. Thank you.
Seeing no further discussion, the chair recognizes the gentleman from Dallas for closing comments on House File 415.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. First and foremost, I want to thank my Representative Mitchell and Representative Bohannon for their help on this bill. We've had multiple conversations, and I appreciate that open dialogue. I do just want to make a couple quick comments. Representative Steckman, this isn't a mandate. This is an opportunity for our students. Again, this is not a mandate. Representative Bohannon and Representative Wolf, as far as the meaning behind the Pledge of Allegiance, I hope this is an opportunity for our teachers to begin teaching the real meaning of the Pledge of Allegiance. I think that's extremely important. I think that should be a part of 1 through 12 grades anyways. But at the end of the day, we don't pledge our allegiance to a government. We don't pledge our allegiance to a person or a leader. We pledge our loyalty to an idea, the American idea. We pledge our loyalty to the greatest social experiment to have ever happened on this planet. Being one of few states without the Pledge of Allegiance in our schools, we've been doing a disservice to our students, to our state, and to our country. And I think this bill will be a good step forward in beginning to provide that. What makes this country so great is that we can be on complete opposite sides of the political spectrum. We can disagree, we can have those debates, but at the end of the day, we all know we're united under one flag. And that's why I believe the Pledge of Allegiance is so important. I think this is a good bill for our students, a good bill for our schools, and a good bill for the state of Iowa. Mr. Speaker, I move House File 415.
The question now, the gentleman from Dallas moves bill be read for the last time placed on its passage. Are there objections? Seeing none, the clerk will read.
House File 415, a bill for an act requiring school districts and certain accredited non-public schools to administer the Pledge of Allegiance and to display the flag in the classroom during the reciting of the Pledge of Allegiance being enacted by the General Assembly of the State of Iowa.
The question now is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor of its passage shall vote aye. Those opposed shall vote no. The clerk will receive your vote. R. Smith, aye. Hall, aye. Height, aye. Meyer, A. Meyer, aye. G. Moore, aye. Jones, aye. Running Markwart, aye. Donahue, aye. Best, aye. Landon, aye. Have you all now voted? The clerk will close the machine and record your vote. The House will pay attention to the results of the vote. Those voting aye, 90. Those voting no, 3. Absent or not voting, 7. The bill having received a constitutional majority is declared to have passed the House. Are there objections to the title? The chair hears none. The title is agreed to.